July 27th, 2017. Welcome to this edition of the Philly podcast. And today was the first day that the entire Eagles team will hit the practice field. The Phillies routed. I mean, routed. The Houston Astros behind Aaron Nola, who struck out 10 guys and is obviously the best pitcher on the team. Franco hit a 2-run home run. Cameron Rupp hit a pair of 2-run home runs, and that was that. What else? Oh yeah, Neshek got traded after the game, or I should say, during the game. Team came out in the post-game show that Pat Neshek had been traded, and then after the game, Matt Klentak addressed the media and pretty much said that they traded him for 3 A-ball players that are like 23, 22, only got 1-5 with the Rule 5. Neshek went over to the Rockies. He's going to help them out of their pen. I mean, you knew this was going to happen at some point, and he said that they will bring up a AAA player. I don't know if they've announced that AAA player yet. Let me see. Because it's just very curious. Yeah, I don't think anything has come out about that yet. So we'll see. But Pat Neshek, we knew. I mean, as good as he was, I mean, you knew that he was gonna, be a short-term player. He was the only one to represent the team in the All-Star game, and he finished with like a 1.145 ERA, a very good ERA. He was just a guy that was very reliable in the bullpen. Hey, Phillies did that. He impressed. He was a bright spot. First half, but age. I mean, he's bouncing from team to team to team, helping them. The Rockies help them compete and go to the playoffs. I was actually kind of wrong. I think it said, I don't know. I saw a report yesterday that said that Alan Barbray, we're talking Eagles now, has been cut. Instead, they traded him to the Denver Broncos for a conditional 2019 pick. But yet they still cut Marcus Smith. So, yeah. Also, I want to get into 2 college football teams today. We'll get into Notre Dame and to Temple. As for tomorrow goes, there will be no podcast tomorrow. Starting on Monday through next week, I'll be posting videos up from my phone since there will be no podcast. I think you'll most likely see my face. So, I mean, yeah. Get prepared to see something very ugly. but it is what it is. I don't know. I may edit that out. See how that goes. But there will be Philly pod activity on this channel, as well as obviously Instagram, and if any of you guys follow me on Twitter, there'll be and some of that stuff. So yeah. BleedingGreenNation.com has some live practice updates for the Eagles. I mean, today is the full day, the first full day of Eagles practice, and it was very cool to see Alshon Jeffrey just boom out of that locker room or the clubhouse or whatever, the NovaCare complex in green, and that just got my juices flowing. It was great. And we had some pretty good news that caused a lot of controversy yesterday because I thought he was going to get traded. I don't know what was going to happen with his contract, but I'm reading a tweet. Doug Peterson says that Jordan Matthews is a full go. Thank God. Thank God. Now I'm going to get some heat for that. I'm glad to see that. I'm very happy to see that because we need Jordan Matthews, because he knows how Carson Wentz plays, and God Christ, he caught his first touchdown pass of his career. Jordan Matthews and Carson Wentz, if they continue to play together, if nothing bad happens, I think they will be a great chemistry. To see that in Torrey Smith, and I hope to see that in Alshon Jeffrey. Okay. Let's check our lovely live. Nothing. No viewers. Size as much, so we have a viewer. Okay. I didn't really advertise this one. Story saying on Instagram saying podcast at 3:00. That was pretty much it. So here's a tweet from John Clark. Jordan Matthews said he dealt with knee issues throughout last season, as well as an ankle So I'm sorry, I cannot read. Here's John Clark's his tweet regarding Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews said he dealt with knee issues throughout last season and ankle as well. Cannot read to save my life. Jesus freaking Christ. If Jeff, I mean, he's probably he's a he always laughs when someone stutters, and really, like he knows when people stutters, and it's so freaking weird. Now he stutters because he keeps making fun of people, but whenever I read, I just saw him giggling, and I knew I stutter a lot, and I have a lot of issues reading. But other than that, Jordan Matthews, okay, we have to figure out whether the Eagles will negotiate something bigger. Hopefully they will. I mean, this is a guy that Carson Wentz needs. This is a guy that Carson Wentz really needs. I'm going Steelers sign to tackle Honda 4-year contract as well. Training camp gets underway, so that's Also, got hurt. and he gets hurt. The Ravens do not do. They do not do well. I mean, last year he played almost the full year. I think he did play the full year, and they almost made it to the playoffs. If it were that game at Pittsburgh, and then they won the Week 17 game, I think they would have, but they didn't. Typical Ravens. I mean, the Ravens have not been relevant since that Super Bowl team. They've not. I mean, they won a couple good playoff games. I mean, they seem to win at Pittsburgh in the playoffs, but yeah. Holy shit. Is this guy on the line? Holy shit. God damn. Hasn't cut his hair more than a year. Yeah, I could tell. College football previews. Right now, we'll talk about my Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Then we'll talk about the Temple Owls. So yeah. So um, to it. Um, I will start with my team, Notre Dame. This is obviously my favorite college football team. You know, Brian Van Gorder, his defense. Well, I mean, it sucks. Michigan State and fucking Duke killed them. Defense was just a total mess last year. They had talent, they just didn't have a scheme. This year, they brought in defensive coordinator Mike Elko. He came out of Wake Forest. Last year, I remember Greg Hudson took over after Van Gorder got fired. It was just in shambles. It was a good thing. It was not a very good thing. Um, Van Gorder had a couple good games, and that was it. I think the only good game that Brian Van Gorder coached was against Michigan back in 2004 when they shut out, and that was, my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of other good ones. The defensive stand, the goal line stand against Stanford. I, all my nerding not to because people will just leave and not listen to the podcast ever again. So, how about this? We will preview my boys Notre Dame. I'm just so freaking excited for this. I mean, listen, to see this team play. I don't think it's going to be talking college football playoff. I'm not talking. The team will be very, very lucky to make a New Year's Six and New Year's Six. They would be very, very lucky. Kelly is taking a new approach. If you guys remember last year, he freaked out way too much. Out on Sam Mustipher, he freaked out after a bad snap he freaked out on a center in the middle of fucking Hurricane Matthew against NC State. You know it's going to be tough in the middle of a hurricane and the field's all wet and plans to change his approach for the season. Brought in new defense coordinator Mike Elko. Brought in Brian Polian. I think he coached Nevada last year. He brought him in. Bong is a new offensive coordinator. Polian, I guess, misses, but special teams guy. So, the big loss for Notre Dame this year is obviously DeShone Kizer. The offense was probably the only bright spot on the team from last year. The offense really was a big defense wasn't really doing anything. That was the issue. I need a sip of water. All right. So that was the issue. So Stanford was the offensive coordinator last year. He left. He's now at Western Kentucky. And now the new quarterback is Brandon Wimbush. Now, people are saying Brandon Wimbush is not gonna fill DeShone Kizer's shoes. He will, and I think he'll do it well. He's a big guy. He's a big quarterback. He can run. He has receivers. He has Brown as a receiver. I am so freaking excited for Equanimeous St. Brown. I think he's going to do big things for us this year. Equanimeous St. Brown. Offensive tackle, very good. Quentin Nelson, offensive guard, very good. They are. They said they should be in the NFL, but they want to come back and they want to get development, and I don't blame them for that. I mean, I think Kizer should have. It's not just with Notre Dame. I think there's a lot of the good player here. Another one is Cardale Jones. I think Cardale Jones should have done, and then head back, and then play one more year as a starting college football quarterback at another school, because in Ohio State you might have to platoon with Barrett, or Barrett's going to be the starter. Or, I think, Cardale Jones was good enough, and then, we could put him in the pros. But, that was his decision. Very good running back, physical, big guy, CB South, Central. So, yeah, they have a very good left side with McGlinchey and Nelson. And with the two running backs, they're just gonna feast. They're gonna feast. I think Chip Long's gonna be a very good off. I mean, with Notre Dame this year, I think it's the biggest factor is coaching. Coaching is gonna be the big factor with this team. And hopefully they will be very good. Now they have a new defense coordinator, Mike Elko. This is how bad it was. They allowed 33 points, more than 6 times, losing 5 of those games. They play 12 football games. That's half of those games where you allow 33 points or more. And losing 5 games. It's bad. Niles Morgan's there. Drew Tranquil's there. Defense, and he's a safety. Hayes, defensive end, very good. And they have to move without Jerron Jones and Isaac Rochelle on the defensive line. And then you have Jerry Tillery. He's going to be he's going to be a big part. So they have to still figure out the line. They have to run. They have to pass rush. That's their thing. They have to pass rush. They have to put pressure on the quarterback. That's one thing they didn't really do last year. So I think this team's going to go. I mean, I'm not going to say this about. I know this team's schedule. I'm a fan, but I'm not saying that they're going to do anything big. I'm not saying that they're going to go to the national championship. I'm not saying that they're going to go to the college football playoff. I'm not like all those other Notre Dame bandwagon Cowboy fans. That's, if you guys didn't know, that's the big thing. The Yankees, the Cowboys, and the Notre Dame. I was a Notre Dame fan because my grandfather. I mean, that wasn't me. That was my grandfather. So don't give me any shit for that. So I'm not saying that they're going to do anything big. They're not going to beat Georgia week 2. Beat USC. But they're only going to lose 4 games this year. They're going to lose 4 games or more. But I expect this team to do something. They just renovated the stadium. They put a scoreboard in there. They put some club seats. I expect it to be freaking hostile in there, which it hasn't been. It's been more like, we're going to Notre Dame. We're going to just go pump the shit out of them because there's a bunch of alumni there that are just, signing up for their Goth memberships. And they have to make it a hostile fucking environment. It's gonna be, it's gonna be crazy. They do play Temple week 1. And they do play Temple week 1 in South Bend. I was gonna go to that game, but we had to push that back to do some, some things going on in the family that weekend. So we're gonna go to the game against Navy. It's gonna be a very fun game to go to. So yeah, let's move to the Temple Owls. Temple New coach. Going to be like a rebuilding year. The second time, Temple's going to go into Notre Dame. Second time in 4 years, Temple's going to go into Notre Dame. A new head coach, a new quarterback, new era. I was at the last Temple Notre Dame game in at the Link on Halloween. Probably one of the best football games in my life. I mean, I'll get in that story at another time, but that was the last time they played Notre Dame 24-20. So yeah. After this, I'll see if I could find more stuff about the Eagles. So yeah. Review Temple House college football. Okay. So Temple, for them, it's all about the quarterback situation. Yeah, they have Jeff Collins, the new head coach out of Florida. He was one of the coordinators for Florida last year. They don't have Jahad Thomas. They don't have Hassan Reddick on the line. They don't have Jay Walkship at the quarterback. They're the defending American Conference champs, but that was under the helm of Matt Rule. Now we got to see how Collins does. Matt Rule is going to Baylor now. He's the Baylor head coach, getting paid $4 million. $4 million instead of getting paid $1 million for Temple. And Temple, for years they've been one of those schools. I think Temple's a rising program. Obviously, I mean, they made it to 2 straight American Athletic Conference championships. The American Athletic Conference last year, but they are a rising program, and this is still a place. We learned last year after the last season, before the bowl game, that this is a place where coaches go to learn how to be coaches. Kind of like what Lane Kiffin's doing at FAU. He's going to last at FAU until they start getting good. And then once he leaves FAU, he's going to go to a big team. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I didn't want Temple to be like, that's how they're going to be. That's, unfortunately how it is. Like I said, no PJ Walker, no Jahad Thomas on the offensive side of things. Defensive side of things, they don't have Hassan Reddick. So, yeah. They lost Hassan Reddick and 3 starters up front. 4 of the top 5 tacklers gone. Progress for Temple on the defense side of things. Linebacking corps will need to find new playmakers and leaders. With all 3 starters gone, it's a promising group returning, but it will really be young behind the line, and that won't provide much help early on. But then the secondary is a different story. 3 of the starters will be back: Delvin Reddick, Sean Chandler, and the nation's third best pass defense. Temple's always had a pretty good defense. I mean, if you guys remember, they had Tyler Matakevich a couple years ago. He's a big star. He's now playing on the Steelers. He was a very good player. He was physical. He was tough. He always he's a very good pass rusher. So, yeah. The running game has to work. Like I said, they lost 4 games last year, and all 4 were the worst rushing days of the season. And then including the bowl loss to Wake Forest. The line has to handle the pass rush, and they finished with negative 20 yards on 23 carries going back to 2015, 0 for 4 of its last 6 when running fewer than 100 yards. That kind of sounds like, it reminds me of the first couple Eagles games with DeMarco Murray. That was bad. They pick up the leading rusher in the league and they can't even get a freaking yard. Anyway, back to college football with Temple. I mean, they have to figure out a new starting quarterback. And they got a couple guys. I know they got Anthony Russo. I don't know what his deal is. Dentel Bryant is the number 1 target, leading arguably the team's biggest strength and top 4 wide receivers returning. So the receiving corps are going to be pretty good. So Temple, I think it's going to be a different year than the last couple of years. I mean, I know the last couple of years are probably one of the best in program history, but it's just going to be a rebuilding year. That's what it seems, and that's what it looks. All right, so let's see. So that's it for the college football previews for today. I have to figure out a time to preview Pitt. I have to figure out a time to preview. I think Pitt's going to be the last team I preview. So yeah. All right, so let's the Eagles camp. Changing how players get paid in Sit and Go. With Sit and Go 2.0, the chance to get paid big time. 2.0 starts with a pregame. With every black card flipped over, the prize pool grows along with the number of players who get paid. Just avoid the red card and watch the payout soar. For the whole deal on Sit and Go 2.0, check out Sit and Go 2.0. Oh shoot, Doug Peterson at a press conference. Right before we went on air today. Change calls for new healthcare choices. If you're eligible for Medicare and have recently lost coverage, or if you have a low income or are new to Medicare, you may be able to get extra benefits through a Cigna HealthSpring Medicare Advantage plan. Call Cigna HealthSpring today. All right. Scheduling. We'll let you guys know via Instagram how this will be for the next. I might do a couple live sessions on Instagram. I will not. I'll either do that. That was kind of serve as the podcast. That's what I've just kind of been thinking about over the last couple of minutes. What will I do? I think I'll probably go live a couple times on Instagram, YouTube, but we'll figure it. But there will be Philly podcast action. I am down in. Showers are going to be Saturday. Bob Grotz tweets with showers in the forecast on Saturday. If you're going to the Eagles Open practice at the link, first check in at 6:10, 3:20, 160. Postponement possible. That must be bad. That's a shame. They should reschedule it at least. They should reschedule. I mean, like an open practice, they should at least have 2 practice. I mean, the fans need to see this team. This could be the first good Eagles team that we have in a while. Like that's good, and then we have a nice, bright future ahead of us. Like the inside of my underwear after a day at the beach, this board is all sands. 2 pair versus 1 pair, and Rep Porter does not like to fold. Board is now Jordan Matthews says that the Eagles' offense is going to be dynamic. He's excited about the pieces that the team added. Well, Jordan, you have to. The thing is with him, he has to stay healthy. They have to, they'll figure out the contract. The front office has to figure out what the contract has to do. What they have to figure out a long-term deal because this is a guy that Carson Wentz needs. This is a guy that Carson Wentz really needs, and needs, because he knows him. He knows him, and he's going to be the one that knows him the best when this thing is all said and done. And 97.5, the Fanatic, tweeted the other day, there's a real I can't remember what the exact tweet was, but it was something along the lines of, there's a real battle at cornerback, at the slot receiver, and it's between Aguilar and Jordan Matthews, for a radio station with a bunch of guys and sports radio personalities and journalists and everything that go on that station every single day. Why the hell would you think that there is a battle between these two people? I mean, that is just so freaking dumb. That's the dumbest thing, that there is a battle for the slot receiver position between Matthews and Aguilar. Matthews was the best receiver on the team the last 2 years. I mean, I know he didn't play a lot last year, but he proved that he's the best receiver. He's the tallest receiver. He knows what to do. Like receiver, not tight end, receiver. Hold on, I gotta plug in the computer. We have 6% remaining, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I can't find the charger, so hold on a second, guys. Hold on. Before he will now out there. Of course, Doc's got it. I think Phil's going to turn up here with a better hand sometimes, but no way that Doc folds yet. Generally, the faster Phil calls, the worse. Okay, so that's on the charge. People are so hyped about Nelson Aguilar. I don't get it. Gonna have a good year. He has all the confidence in the world. He's gonna put up a lot of yards. He's gonna be like as advertised out of college. Aguilar sucked. He sucked. He was so bad he couldn't catch a ball to save his fucking life. He was that bad. And I think, you know what? Okay, you can be a good receiver. I'll admit that. But from what I've seen, he hasn't. Until he starts racking up yards, I will consider him a good receiver, but he's not. He cannot catch a ball. Just because he made a touchdown catch in Week 16 against the New York Giants, I mean, that's just someone needs to be shot. And that was just awful. All right, so it looks as if I'm not really getting much. I mean, I think practice is still going on. So yeah, so tomorrow, no podcast. We'll get up. We'll find some way somehow. I'll find some way to get something going with the Philly podcast next week. There will be no. I'm not bringing any of my mic. I'm not bringing my mic down. I'm not bringing my interface down. I'm gonna bring my laptop down, but it's just gonna be for other stuff. But I'm gonna do probably something. I mean, I'll figure something out. I mean, I like going on walks on the boardwalk or something like that, but I'll figure it out. So, thanks for tuning in, listening, whatever. And I'll see you guys soon. So, have a good one.